A century and a half ago, 400 unfortunate souls were buried alive in a mining collapse 10 miles deep in the earth. Mysterious ancient catacombs surround their subterranean settlement, while bioluminescent fungus creates a ceaseless glow on the bustling city of 2000. Welcome to the rocky beaches of Brightshore.
When last we left off, you had just accepted the hospitality, the solace, and the comfort of one Mr. Duncan the farmer within the meat bug farm. You'd helped dispatch some fleshy, toothy, chitinous, blood-drinking, necrotic damage-creating monsters that nearly ended your lives and nearly made you shrug off your mortal coil for several of you. But a watery tentacle and several well-placed blows managed to fell them.
When you say it almost took us down, you mean it took down everybody but Kheddeerta, right?
When it successfully took down 75% of the party.
Not counting our ally that was there.
I was going to say, I believe it took down more than 75% of the party because it also took down an ally.
It's true. It did take down Duncan.
80%.
Yes, your ally.
Duncan only counts for 5%.
Duncan. Yeah, you count. He's a half person. Noted. It's true. Duncan leads you over to the guest quarters where you had seen the bedrolls laid out already. Settles in with you on a chair. He's alive due to your help. All of you are alive, but he looks a little bit worse for wear as he sits heavily in a chair in the room with all of you, leans back. Oh, I suppose thanks are in order. Again, wonder how many more of those we got out there. Did you have no idea what they are?
Kheddeerta raises her hand a little bit and she says, there were a lot of them. I think actually more than attacked us. And all I know is that they're aberrations.
Okay. Just, he leans forward, pulls a whistle out from under his tunic and blows in it. 3 quick, sharp, shrill blasts. About a minute later, the person walks in and he sends them off, telling them, hey, there are more of these creatures out there. See if you can isolate the spots where you see damage and move the meat bugs off. The person jaunts off pretty quick, and then he turns his attention back to all of you. I don't suppose I could convince you to stay a day or two and maybe help clean up the rest of them that are out there and figure out where they got in from. I don't want to keep you from business if you have important things to get off to.
If that was just fighting 3 of them, I don't know if we'd survive very many others.
I mean, maybe if they didn't get the drop on us, but...
Kyle, quick question. Can we sort of extrapolate from the fight that if you don't get close, they don't really know where you are?
Yes.
So then Walker will kind of speak up and be like, well, Duncan, if I may offer some advice in future encounters with these entities, shoot them from range. I do not believe they are capable of sensing you if you are not within a certain distance. So if you stay outside of that distance, then I believe they will be unable to ascertain your location.
Good to know. I suppose that, most things down here don't have eyes. I guess I hadn't even considered it might not be able to feel.
I would need more time to study one to actually figure out more about them.
I wasn't able to figure out what kind of thing this was I?
No, you couldn't put a name to it. You know that they are an eldritch horror of some kind. There's some kind of aberration that found their way in. But you're not sure where they got in at.
Far be it from me to make suggestions, seeing as I have no exterminating expertise, but you may need to poison a large swath of land for these. You may even need to use some of your bugs as cattle for them.
You're recommending that we poison the livestock, poison the bugs, and then when they eat the bugs, maybe that'll have an effect.
You may have to get permission from back at home, because you'll have to check, make sure there's provisions enough for this type of maneuver.
Kheddeerta, would they be susceptible to poison?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, they're already poisonous themselves. Or venomous, I should say. I don't know if they'd be susceptible to poison.
Well, I can certainly allocate some of the reserves for it. I don't necessarily think we need to inform them back home at the attempt that we're doing, particularly if it's successful and we suffer fewer losses than we would have just from them feeding in general.
Well, how about this, Kheddeerta? Why don't you and perhaps Walker put your heads together, see if you can figure out what these things do, how they maybe reproduce, if they're just feeding, or if they're injecting larvae or something. See if you can figure that out, while maybe Meizaphir and I keep a watch over the livestock. But we are spent. It was a grueling fight, and I don't have much left in me, but as long as I can keep them away, perhaps that'll be enough.
It was, and you guys really do need rest to heal up a bit. You were all really badly done. If we can get a hold of some of one of the bodies, at least, I can see if I can study it for a little bit and possibly compare what it injects into the larvae that are around to see how they're being affected by the poison.
Indeed, I have procured one from the scene. Duncan, if you might, several of the afflicted bugs, the livestock, may be helpful in this endeavor, such as you brought us before. And then Walker will get out the carcass of one of these eldritch horror-y things that he sort of rolled up like a piece of toothy parchment, and look around for a workspace to put it on.
Yep, there's a table.
And kind of like lay it out on a table, sort of tooth side up, and gesture at Kheddeerta and, well, madam, you know more in these pots than I do. I will assist in whatever way I can.
Perfect. While he was getting the body laid out, Kheddeerta was already pulling out notebooks and sample vials and other different things to do a dissection and to put out ink pots to start writing down notes and everything that she can ascertain from this specimen.
So you begin effectively a field autopsy, breaking the animal down, performing tests with it.
I will, before we start doing that, I will take sort of an object close by, and I will use my artisan tools that I have, and I will use magical tinkering to turn that into sort of like a laboratory light, sort of construct like a boom light, sort of using my tinkering tools that we can maneuver around, and that sheds bright light in a 5-foot radius and dim light for an additional 5 feet. So I'll use that sort of to just provide us with a bright light that we can maneuver how we see fit while we do this.
You pull the light in close. This one had fed on people, so it has a little bit of blood still within it that is slowly starting to disgorge. But as you begin working it over, slicing into it, peeling back parts, looking for kind of its sensory organs and other things, you are able to identify some fairly important details about it. The first is, as I called out earlier, it doesn't appear to have eyes of any kind. when you take a close examination, you start looking for some kind of tendril that it could feel through, or anything like that, any sensory organ, and you actually come up empty. There are no, I believe they're called cilia, I think. There are no little feelers coming off of it that lead you to believe it can have any sense of tremor sense. There are would appear to be no ears or olfactory organs.
Basically just no sensory organs that we could identify.
That you can identify, that's correct. And then as the light gets close, when you pull it in, you do notice almost as if by a reflex, the organism lurches slightly towards the light. Its body pulls upwards at it with one of the hooked teeth, and then it settles back down. You pull the light in close again, and it happens again from another one. Though it appears to all be reflex.
So it like lurches at the light?
Correct.
Sort of like like if you were like pulling on like a muscle strand?
Exactly.
I'm gonna ritual cast Detect Magic.
You detect conjuration coming from it.
Walker will turn and look at Kheddeerta and... fascinating. Yes, Kheddeerta, there seems to be a bit of conjuration magic present within this entity of sorts.
Ooh, interesting. That's a neat trick. I really like that. So this might not have... I mean, it's an aberration. It's not natural in the way that we think, but it's actually still putting off magic in of itself?
Yes. What that likely means is that it was conjured to this plane of existence, it being an aberration. That would make sense. So it was pulled here by something.
Like, purposefully?
That is likely.
Why would anyone want to bring something like this here? Especially here? That doesn't make any sense. And she's furiously scribbling notes and everything into her little booklet.
Well, let us look at a number of facts. We know it feeds on blood, correct?
Blood that we've noticed so far.
We know that it is attracted to light.
Yes, and on an almost, well, on an instinctual level, not even muscle memory level.
It cannot perceive outside of a certain radius,
Not that I can identify.
and outside of any other function, it seems to exist solely to feed.
Certainly seems to be that way, based on everything that we're finding here.
Right, like we didn't find any reproductive organs, right?
Nope. I was just about to get to that. You did not find any reproductive organs of any kind.
My only logical conclusion that I could seem to make would be that it was meant to be a weakening force.
This connected in any way to what we're looking for?
Potentially. As of yet, inconclusive.
Are you suggesting that there's some master in the shadows creating these plague bringers?
I would say that that conclusion is not disqualified.
Plausible, then.
Plausible.
I liked it better when I thought they were just creatures searching for food.
Kheddeerta looks rather dubious, but also concerned. It's possible. It seems so far-fetched, but I suppose it's possible.
I will say, another possibility could be that somebody was attempting some other sort of arcane ritual of some fashion, and this is some sort of backlash that occurred in its failure or otherwise mishap.
So, like, accidentally conjured by mistake?
Yes, so rather than a purposeful, malicious summoning, a mistake of happenstance rather than intent.
So I suppose one of the biggest questions right now is also, who brought these in?
That as of current is incalculable.
I don't suppose there's any way to trace any magical signatures, is there?
The only person that I know that I would consider to be remotely capable of this is a person I know that wouldn't, which is Winton. Other than that, anybody that is capable of this level of magic would be unknown to me and has kept such ability secret from all of Brightshore.
It also seems like a lot of effort to sabotage our food supply. Like, I would think that there'd be other magically simpler ways of doing that.
Yes, my conclusion in that regard would be that there is a grander plot and that this was intended to weaken before the injection of other dubious-natured plots.
So not only do we really need to find someone who might be able to do this sort of thing, but also finding a motivation for all of this, too.
So it would seem. What are Meizaphir and Gornak doing while we're geeking out over here?
Trying to get Duncan's attention.
Yeah, I mean he's listening, and has like one ear open, but I mean he's injured, so he's not hands on at all.
Do you have any kind of observation point, like some high ground where you can see all of the pens from?
Yeah, we do. We have a it's a holdover. We call them the lifeguard nest.
Cool.
Yeah, you sit up in them.
Can we take a look? I want to get an idea if we can see any other patches like that one. Just get an idea how many of these things we might be dealing with.
Yeah, definitely. He shuffles up to his feet, looks over at the body on the table, and kind of shudders a little bit. Kheddeerta, if you have any notes when you're done, I'd like to look at them if I can. When you're done.
Oh, absolutely. I can make everything available to you if you'd like.
That'd be great. Yeah. Let me show you where that stand is at, Meizaphir.
Yeah.
Before you go, have you ever had a large bonfire out there for any reason? These things seem to be drawn to light. But if you've only had the glow bright fungus around, perhaps that's not strong enough.
No, we haven't done any burning in a long time.
But that's a
burned
really
back-
good idea.
Yeah, we burned back some fungus a while ago, but that was 20 years ago or so. It's been a very long time since we had any infection issues.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When he leaves, Gornak's been kind of formulating plans and thinking of what other steps or causes this could like what could have caused this, and he'll voice it when Duncan is gone, and he'll say to Kheddeerta and Walker, so this could be some ancient gate from some other time just underneath this area that's been activated, in which case what are we gonna do? Dig holes until we find it? I think that we can maybe try what we can do for the next couple days, but I don't think we should waste too much time here. There could be more pressing issues with what's been seen back at home.
Activated? How would something like that be activated?
Look at Walker over here.
Yeah. I guess there's that. Well, we definitely need time to rest, though, because I'm spent, and you guys are all really injured, and we need some rest.
Walker takes a look at himself.
Even you're pretty banged up.
For the sake of argument, I have dedicated the last 150 years to understanding the nature and capacity of how my docent and arcane sigils function. and I have made very little progress into the understanding of such things.
Right. Only lending more credence to my point. We should not tarry here for too long. Perhaps we can build a bonfire, like I said, and maybe they'll be called to the flame.
No. I'll go ahead and write up a report and send it back, and then hopefully some people from the townsfolk can come and help deal with the ones that are remaining here. And we will continue further on and see if we can find out more information.
And certainly see the wisdom in haste. Leaving them with as much knowledge as possible is, I think, also wise, particularly to attack from range.
Outside, Duncan leads Meizaphir back towards the pasture. Now there are a couple dozen people that you can see kind of out on the edge of your vision. The glow bright, they stand out as silhouettes against it, working through the mounds of meat bugs. They have long nets out in front of them and staves with what look like planks of wood, wider planks attached to them as they scoop. They're shoving and moving large mounds of worms and beetles out of the way to make room, seeming to push them away from where there might be this infection, this spread out there. He leads you to one of the observation posts and points out, you should have a good view from up there, take in pretty much everything across it. Things get a little dark out towards the edges. Unfortunately, if you got to check out there, you're going to have to hoof it, but from here you should be able to see most of the fields.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on hoofing it. I feel like that they are drawn to the light suggests that they probably aren't going to be in the dark places, but could be wrong.
Makes sense. Holler down if you need me to explain anything.
Will do.
Yeah, the top of the tower, it's about 25, 30 feet up. So you're...
I'm on up.
Yeah, you're up pretty high. And you look out, and at the edges of your vision, the glow bright extends it quite a bit. Your Half-Drow heritage assisting in this dark place. Please, for me, roll a investigation or a perception check with advantage. We got an 18 perception check. You, as I pointed out, you see a couple dozen people out in the fields seemingly making pockets around where these patches of dying bugs are. You spot about 6 patches like that out across the main pasture. And then your attention gets drawn towards the east, actually towards near the tunnel that you came in from. As you see, there are dense patches, almost like a tendril snaking its way into the field, coming from an alcove near the tunnel where you'd come in, but you wouldn't see it, right? It's out of view. It's where the cave kind of cuts back in a way. But there seems to be a heavy concentration of...
So like a trail of these patches?
Exactly. They're so tightly packed that they seem connected. It maybe extends for 50 feet, 60 feet into the field.
I'm going to note that down, give everything another scan just to make sure I'm not missing anything. And then provided I don't see anything else, I will head back down.
That is all that you note from your perch up there. You look up towards the ceiling again. I know that had come up as a spot where they may be, or there might be an incursion from, or something could be dripping down or cleaning up there, and you don't notice anything clinging to stalactites.
When I get back down, I'm gonna. Is Duncan with everybody else, or is he? Off
He's still here. He's at the bottom of the
Cool. Yeah, so I saw 6 patches kind of scattered around over there, but concerning, there is a trail of pretty tightly packed patches of these things coming from, that alcove over by the entrance, that way?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're coming from there. I'd give that a wide berth.
Can't give that much of a wide berth.
Wide as you can, let's say.
Yeah, that's our pump house.
Oh, it's a problem.
All right. Yeah, should be fine. I suppose we can send back for gardeners. I don't want to put you and yours out any further than necessary.
Yeah.
He looks up to the top and he looks down at his own injuries. I'll take a look later at it.
The tomorrow problem.
That's a tomorrow problem. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll go warn the rest. You can, if you have any more questions, I'll come by. I'll probably just bed down with you all tonight. So if anything comes to mind, feel free to bring it up then. We'll see you in a bit. He kind of hobbles off back into the bug fields and begins that sliding walk through the mounds.
Make my way back in and let you all know what I just found out about the trail over to the pump house, which is where it looks like they're coming from.
Good spotting. Do we set the place ablaze, or?
I mean, I feel like that's definitely the solution. Whether or not we're the ones that do it, that's up for debate. Duncan said he was going to reach out to the gardeners and get a contingent to come here and help them take care of things.
Seems like it'd be best for us to just relay what we've discovered and let them take care of it and we continue on.
That does seem prudent.
You all settle in to lick your wounds, rest up a bit. A couple hours go by. You're not pinned in or anything. You're allowed to wander about and take in the area. People are working diligently outside every time you come out. Many of the people there look like they were shaken awake from whatever sleep shift they were on, and it's kind of all hands on deck of activity. But eventually Duncan does make his way, as he promised, back. Knocks on the door and pokes his head in. So I know I mentioned having some gardeners come take care of this for us.
Wonderful idea. Now let's go.
Hear me out. My concern is, it looks like that patch that you noticed, Meizaphir, has already spread. I've had a few people watching it. We scooted bugs away. The ones that are out further, the isolated ones haven't grown as much, but that arm, I know, so it looks like a second tendril coming off of it now. I would say it's not really your problem, but it's kind of all of our problem. So
It's now or never, you say?
Well, not necessarily now, but I don't know if I have time to wait for a day and a half, 2 days for Matthias and Silnan to get their thumbs out of their asses and send some help.
Kheddeerta kind of looks around at everybody else. I think we might have to take care of this after all.
Yes, well, I've got some bad news for Duncan. Our deity forgot that we were only level 1, so these things are a pain in the ass. And we may die trying. So, hopefully, some of that was taken into account.
Hopefully this can keep till morning, at the very least.
I'm sure that the meal, the high in protein meal that I'm about to serve you, will help your wounds heal nicely while you rest for a few more hours before you get out there and work with the information that you now have. We have a couple crossbows amongst our things here, but that's about the extent of it.
I got one.
Some long poles.
Well, hopefully you have men to use them as well. I think it'll take all of us.
Be happy to, yeah. I'll have some meat pucks brought in for you. You must be hungry. So let me get those taken care of for you, and you all get some rest, and I'll draw lots and see who's going to help you.
Very well. After he goes, Gornak will just say, like, does anybody else hate the word meat pucks now?
I'm good.
Never found it particularly repulsive, but then again, I am not required to eat them.
I'm certainly not as much of a fan of them anymore as I was.
A tray of disked meat, of meat pucks,
Thanks.
is brought in. They are fresh, and they are slightly warmed for you, heated up, how they're meant to be. They are set out for you with a little bit of fungus, some mushrooms to have as well.
Eat it. Don't eat the fungus. Don't do it, guys.
You recognize the fungus as being edible and a staple in the diets of most people.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. You guys are fine. It's fine.
And you're left to rest for as long as you want.
I know you don't want it, but she passes everything around to everybody. Dig in.
Yeah. Gornak will eat.
Yeah, you all chow down. You heal. You recover your hit dice and your hit points and any spells and spell slots that you've used. When you eventually roll out, Duncan is waiting by the fence along with 3 other people. They look like they're younger. Well, they're in their 20s. They're humans in their 20s. And they, 2 of them have crossbows, as he mentioned, a couple of crossbows, and 2 of them have those long poles, but the tips of them have been now sharpened.
Oh, this is what you could conjure. Might as well get after it.
So the pump house, Duncan points towards it, towards that eastern tunnel. Because the pump house is in there. Doesn't have a roof, but it's like a stone structure built around it, about a 15 by 15 space. Inside of there is some machinery and pipes, obviously. Pipes coming down, though. Pulling the resources in. Yeah, let's get to it.
When we get closer towards these tendrils snaking through the earth, Gornak's going to stop everybody and say, oh, let me see if this works. You may be able to bait them out or something. And then he's going to use minor illusion to create the sound of footsteps walking over the earth and see if that does anything.
I also have a possible option.
Are you doing something at the same time, Meizaphir, or are you waiting until after?
I mean, if our goal is to draw them out, I can summon some dancing lights, suitable distance away from us.
So with the footsteps going across, you don't notice a change in behavior from the tendril. There's no sudden surge or leaping of bodies. They don't seem to notice the sound. They don't seem to respond to the sound at all.
Because it's illusion. You're welcome to give it a shot.
Yeah. Alright, I'm going to summon dancing lights about, what do you think, about 40 feet away?
Sure.
Okay. Do you summon them in the shape of a creature, like a nimbus, or do you have the 4 separate lights appear?
No, I'm going to consolidate them into one bright, big light.
So yeah, you all see this nimbus, this blue nimbus appear and begin to move through the space, move through the bugs and nearby, unperturbed by them. I mean, it's an illusion. It's evocation. Sure enough, you watch as the mounds begin to roll in the direction of it. And then you watch as toothy flap snaps out and flies through the nimbus before slamming down into the ground again.
Or she blows.
And then the surge as the entire tendril begins to shift and follow that light.
That's really disturbing.
Can you lead it away?
What, like out of the tunnel?
Yeah. We may be able to cut off the source if it's farther away.
Yeah, or potentially at least expose it. Move the lights towards the entrance.
All right. Yeah, you move the light and you watch as it stretches through the bugs, and you see the flaps of mod flesh occasionally roll over and breach the top before going back beneath the bugs. and you pull it out of the field back to the entrance, and these aberrant, horrifying creatures writhe out of the mass onto the stone floor and follow after the light. Slap, smack, scratch, and they move. Eventually, you see a space open, a gap about 40 feet wide swath that you can move through to make it to the pump house.
Perhaps there's our chance.
Not going to get any better.
Let's go for it.
Can we book it?
You book it. You do the half slide, squelching walk, and make your way through the bugs. You make your way through that gap, and now there you are in a darkened nook, staring into a pump house. It's exactly as you described. It's about a 15 by 15 spaced stone outside that's been built up, and you see large 5 and 10 feet wide pipes that are coming out of the ceiling and then they drive into the floor, and then you see this mess of piping that spills out of it like a creature, a tentacled creature itself, that then disappear into the bugs and through the walls, leading off elsewhere.
Do you think this thing disturbed them?
Or it was just their path to get here from wherever they came from.
Well, I was hoping to find some kind of hole to drop a torch down or something. Perhaps we could move this machine, but it would take years, I think, to tunnel it out.
Yeah, you're looking into that space. It is massive. It's certainly built in, possibly even from before the collapse this was put in. But you're still outside of the pump house itself. You've yet to enter into the domain of the pump.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, you are standing outside looking.
In that case, Walker, can you sense any of them in there?
Can I sense any of these aberrations?
I will warn you, there's probably not enough time to ritual cast it.
I could, but that would greatly deplete my ability to cease it from harming us.
Well, then let's go.
Yeah, you move up the shallow ramp into the room, and you now hear what these stone walls were helping to kind of dampen the sound of, as you hear water and air moving through all of these pipes in every direction, and you feel heat coming off of some and bitter cold coming off of others as they all seem to mix and slide in different directions. You hear a hiss of a pump ramming again and again into a piston. You gaze into the space, and it's not what you see, it's what you hear as your foot crunches. And you look down and see shattered eggs filling this room. A clutch.
Okay, we burned it all.
Can I tell what kind of eggs these are?
Agreed.
They are horrifying. The eggs themselves are about the size of a human head, maybe slightly larger. The outside of the shell, if you pick one up, feels, the texture on it feels like skin, and there are veins running through it, filled with green fluid.
Do they look like they're about the size to hold one of these, like, flappy skin things that...
They do.
They're all hatched.
The ones that you are that are immediately before you are hatched, but this room does disappear around the machine in either direction. This is what you see with just your first glance, with your first sounds that you hear.
Can anybody do a swath of fire or something?
I can cast the firebolt.
Yeah, not what I'm trying to get at. All right, let's get on your stomping boots.
So Meizaphir, with your 14 investigation, where are you, what you doing?
I'm looking around behind the machinery to see if there's anything we're missing, if there's more, if I can find a source.
Yeah. So, so you poke in. You're quick getting in there. You poke your head around the machine. After all, to the spoils goes the first, right? You hear the of a piston beside your head, and this pump working, and you look in, and you do see more eggs. They seem to be nested against the back wall, resting there. They're whole and unhatched at this point. And as you look, you see them begin to push outwards in your direction, as if something is trying to get out. But you also notice a satchel tucked back here. A bag made of leather. A bag that you immediately recognize as being a Rangemore satchel.
I would like to attempt to snatch the bag and stab that egg in like one
Motion.
motion.
Roll your attack with advantage.
Can't believe you guys are behind everything bad that's happening in this place.
Hey man,
you
you don't know
hit-
nothing yet.
You definitely hit the egg as your arm blade sneaks out, slides forward, and you jam it into the egg right before you, that disgusting bit, and you feel your blade contact whatever's in there, and it tries to hold on as you pull it back and wrench it free. And you have a satchel in your other hand,
I'm backing up quickly,
and you're backing up quickly.
encouraging everyone to burn it the fuck down. You guys got something?
Yeah, as you were discussing Gornak, as you're like, we should burn it down. Does anybody have anything to burn it with? Suddenly, Meizaphir is backpedaling into the group. He has something. His arm blade is out, and it is dripping fluid off of it.
Gooey.
It's gooey. As he's shouting for fire.
There's some hatching. We gotta take care of this now.
Move in then. And Gornak will push forward and start unloading Eldritch fire.
These eggs are currently in a state where they are not a threat. You managed to destroy the clutch of eggs with Eldritch Flame. And you hear from behind you, "They're coming back!
Yep.
All right, let's
Windows
move, guys.
closing!"
Your arms.
Backing out of the pump house quickly.
As you turn around and face the tidal wave behind you, you see Duncan is standing there. He's got one of the poles under one arm, and he's trying to push back and keep the gap open. The other four, two of them are firing crossbow bolts. They each fire once and then forget how to reload it. They seem shook by whatever's going on, as the other two pin back masses with their stakes, with their long pikes as well, and are shouting, "Work! Run!" And you have a choice. You may run and get to freedom. You may stop along the way and try to help them. Might have middling results. I suppose those are really your only choices.
Light side or dark side is what you're saying.
Here's your morality choice. Meizaphir, what are you doing?
I would like to try and assist from a distance, so I will crossbow bolts at the mats.
We'll say that might be an option that you have later on. But your first instinct is to run, right? To get to the other side.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you run to the other side. Walker,
So there's no option C where I climb to the top of the gatehouse,
you can stay here at the gatehouse.
but climb to the top?
There's no top. You can climb. You can climb up the wall. Yes. Sorry, you
There's
can
no
climb
top?
and sit on the wall. There's no
It's
top.
just like,
No, it was
it's just
open.
like walls around
Yeah.
pipe?
Yep, that is correct.
Yeah,
What?
he did bring that up.
Weird. Okay.
You don't need roofs in a place that.
Yeah, it's
It's
just an
underground.
alcove in the cave.
Fair. I
Yeah.
guess that's fair. Okay, so are any of these like creatures in a straight line?
Potentially. Yes. We'll say yes.
Okay, how many?
In a straight line. 90.
90?
90. Yes, 90. 90 of these creatures are in a straight line.
Wait, 90 of these, like, jump on your face creatures?
That's correct.
I run.
Go on, Walker.
Where are they coming out of?
He's flabbergasted.
Well, Meizaphir put a light over to the entrance to the one way into and out of the farm and led them in that direction, and now they are coming back. So there's currently a conga line, about
Like
90 of these
90?
creatures. 90, yes, 90.
So how many of these things could I hit in a 30-foot long line that is 5 feet wide?
You can hit 30 of them.
That seems pretty good.
I'll even double it up. We'll say you can put that line down the middle, so you can hit 60 of them.
I'll do that.
Okay.
That's generous. I'm scared of how generous that is.
Damn.
I'm also kind of scared with how generous that is. But
Don't
I'll
look
do
a gift horse in the mouth.
Let me go to Kheddeerta first real quick, and then we'll come back to that. Kheddeerta, do you run? Do you stop part way?
She would run. Yeah.
Okay. Meizaphir, Gornak, and Kheddeerta all run to the other side of this gap. Walker climbs to the top of the wall and unleashes
Cautious caustic brew.
Pasha's Caustic Brew.
30-foot long line, 5 feet wide, in the direction I choose. Each creature in the line must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or be covered in acid for the spell's duration, which is concentration up to 1 minute.
All right. Well, let's give it a roll. Well, they got a 0 on their saving throw. They have a -2. Yeah, I'm not going to roll 60 times. I mean, I could roll 60 times. So
I'm good with them all getting a 0.
with them all getting a 0. Yes.
I'm scared of how generous that is.
Go ahead and roll your damage, your acid damage.
2d4.
Why is everyone afraid that I've got some malevolent thing?
Got you before.
That's fair.
Because
7
we know you.
acid damage.
Ooh, almost max.
And that's at the start of each of their turns.
Okay. Kheddeerta runs by. You watch as these creatures that are coated. Yes.
I was gonna do that and then also follow them through the gap.
You'll be able to.
I wasn't gonna climb. I was gonna cast that and then also run through the gap.
Yeah.
I could do
you may have an opportunity to do that. We'll see.
All right. Well, whatever. However,
you coat them in acid.
I coat them in acid.
The kids, the young adults, the humans that are holding back these creatures that are now covered in acid from you, Walker, look over towards you, look towards the ones that ran away, look at Duncan as Duncan is like, hold! Don't let them get through! Quick, Walker, quick! As you watch the first human go down, as the acid-covered toothy maw slaps into him, and then another, as the tidal wave lunges forward. You watch as the mass grows. It grows from a single layer now to 10 feet tall of these things as they're mounding up against the post and the body that's holding them back. Duncan, at this point, pushes his pole into the back of the one that's already gone. He knows a lost cause when he sees it, and holds it there. He looks back at you, Walker, and you see in that moment that Duncan is a coward as he drops the pole and runs after the others, and you see the wall fall crashing down between all of you, cutting you off from your friends. Meizaphir, you load up your crossbow and look back, seeing this wall, this tidal surge that has now overwhelmed, filled that area back in. Walker on the other side.
I will fire my crossbow into it. Somewhat ineffectually, I'm sure, but I'm doing it.
Okay. You fire a crossbow into this mass. So,
and somehow I miss it. That's an 8.
It's an awful thing to watch somebody die, particularly to such a monstrous being in a way that you would never expect to see. And you still hear his cries. I mean, he's maybe still alive in there. No. But his cries are still filling, echoing within the chamber as you fire your bolt. And it clatters ineffectually into the mass. Gornak.
And Gornak shoot Duncan as he is being consumed.
Duncan is running towards you. It's the younger humans that are being consumed. Duncan dropped his spear that was helping to hold back the wall and started running towards you. You can still shoot him if you want.
Okay. I thought you were having him do that, and then you said as he gets consumed.
I apologize. Yes,
Okay.
I apologize for the confusion. As the younger human gets consumed.
In that case, can Gornak shoot one of the younger humans? Okay. Yep. He'll try and put this lad out of his misery before whatever terrors are his last
It's a beautiful
sight.
sentiment. Give me a roll.
But it'd be cooler if it... All right, there we go. 24 to hit.
Yeah, you definitely hit.
Vorch him right in the dome.
Yeah, there's this brief moment where he's exposed, his face and his chest as he looks at you, and you see his skin has been flayed back, and these teeth, these punctures are just tearing away at him. And yeah, your blast goes. Did you Eldritch blast him?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Right through him, and you see him stop. His charred corpse now being pulled down and down under these things. Kheddeerta.
She's kind of frozen in shock of what she just witnessed, because that's never something that she's ever been privy to before.
She's frozen in shock. Walker.
If Walker could pee, he'd probably pee. So now, is there a way for me to get to them?
No, not without work. Not without a solution.
Okay. I think I have one. Sanctuary.
Very good.
Casting time 1 bonus action. Duration 1 minute. You ward a creature within range. Myself.
You could have used that on one of the kids.
Well, I was hoping to kill them all. Right? I was hoping to be like, blam! But like, you know, I didn't realize like 30 of these things were like, I didn't realize how many hit points these things were gonna have, right? So I didn't realize that they like a bunch of these things were gonna get to like jump on this dude and basically like kill him before he got a chance to do anything. They're gonna have to make wisdom saving throws to hit me, basically, is the dude guy. So I'm gonna cast this on myself.
So as an Artificer Warforged, what does your sanctuary look like?
Walker is a man of propriety, but if ever there were an occasion that a swear word was warranted, it is now. And he would look around and he would punctually say, "Merd." And then he would reach into the satchel on his side, pull out what looks like a half a vambrace, right? Slap it onto like his left like forearm, like hit what looks like 3 buttons on it, right? Twist the knob that's attached to it, and then what looks like a bubble dome would like pop up around him. And you would hear like an arcane shield pop up around him.
Great. And then you begin moving through
And then I would begin slogging through.
Yeah, you push through the waves, and these things, these acid-covered creatures, first take 2d4 damage.
Oh yeah, 2d4 acid damage on each
Acid
of the
damage.
turrets.
Mhm.
5.
Take 5 more damage, and then begin to lunge ineffectually towards you. You only have to go a short distance, though, before they fall off and stop following you. And you clear that distance. Bugs, though, now also skitter away from you. You're leaving a trail. Not one that's being followed, but a trail. You are parting the meat bug
Parting the
field.
bugs.
Yes, parting the bugs.
Parting the Red Sea bugs.
As you all see Walker emerge. Kheddeerta shocked.
Oh, you're alive.
Barely.
There's nothing stopping them from just coming this way, right?
I'm continuing to move.
That's correct. There is currently no stimuli that you know of that's drawing them this direction.
I mean, hunger for bugs is stopping them.
Yeah, what you put together so far is they seem to be attracted to light. They are incapable of detecting people unless they're very close to them. And they seem to delight in eating bugs.
And people.
And people.
They just delight in eating.
And now there are a bunch of them covered in acid that are burning.
Slowly dying.
They're slowly dying. Roughly 60 of them
Out
More
of
than half.
90.
out of 90 that were in that group.
Rude, Kyle. Rude.
That qualifier at the end there.
And 3 of them kicked our ass.
Gornak is just looking at this writhing mass of, it's almost like liquid, of these things crawling, slithering, and squelching on top of each other. And he's almost like at a loss, but he just kind of turns to the group and says, "What now?"
Kheddeerta stands just kind of dumbfounded with her mouth hanging open and her eyes wide with terror and awe. I don't know.
Walker takes out a journal and makes a few field notes about the behavior of these creatures, like how they attack, what their behaviors are, how they act. Right?
What their behaviors are. Yeah.
Seeing Walker do that kind of snaps her out of her dumbfoundedness, and she pulls out her own and starts to do the same.
Well, I guess that I don't know what to say.
Then say nothing.
Did you guys wait? Did you find it? Wherever they came from, did you seal it up? Did you figure out whatever brought them here?
We found eggs. Lots and lots of eggs.
Meizaphir is gonna, while they're talking, look in the bag.
I thought you said these things didn't have any organs, and they couldn't reproduce.
That I could identify.
They do not, but they may be pupate.
Yeah, does that mean something out there can?
Perhaps this is a pupate stage, a larval form.
Oh god, you mean they get bigger?
Perhaps.
Meizaphir, you open the flap on the satchel and kind of quickly look through it. You recognize it as being your cousin's bag. And there's something in there that's cold to the touch. It feels almost like metal. Almost. There's something almost crystalline about it, though, as your finger goes across his texture. I don't know if you pull it out of the satchel.
Yeah. Is there any writing or anything on it?
Yeah, you begin pulling it out, and it's the size of a small book. And you quickly recognize that it's a brick of some kind. It's lighter than you would expect, but it is so cold as you're holding on to it. It's made out of an amethyst, purple crystal, and the facets within it seem to extend further than they should.
Did you say there was some writing on it?
Yeah, when you begin to look at it, looking for some kind of writing, it looks like there must be text there. It feels like there must be writing on it. And you begin to get a headache. And your eyes begin to hurt.
That's not a good sign.
And when you look again, it just looks blank to you. It's definitely Johnny Boy's. Not this item, but the bag. You see the rest of his more illicit things within there.
Anything I should pocket?
I mean, if you want a little bit of Globrite that's been purified for personal use, that's in there. There's a flask that's sealed up, and a few rations.
Flask and the rations.
Eventually, the mound of toothy monstrosities begins to slow in its movements, and you watch as the flesh continues to melt beneath the acid that was on it. And eventually, you're left with that acrid scent and an unmoving mound of carcasses.
You know, it makes sense that I didn't find any reproductive organs or anything like that. If these are freshly hatched and in their larval stage themselves, they wouldn't yet.
Yeah. So you are now left there. You're out of the bug field. People have started to gather around. Duncan, he still has this kind of almost caged animal fear look in his eyes as he's looking back at that and then around at everybody, and then he turns to the large group that's gathered. Send 3 to Brightshore. Inform the gardeners that we need help. Something's gone terribly wrong. We've lost people. We need help.
Well, at least now we know effective tactics for luring them and then destroying large swaths of them.
It's true. And it looks like hail the heroes of Brightshore. They killed many of them.
Yeah, Gornak does not look happy.
A walker looks at Gornak when that gets said, and it's a knowing fuck kind of glance.
Kheddeerta begins quickly writing out a report of everything that they have learned so that she can leave it behind for when the gardeners arrive.
Make sure that is a full report, Kheddeerta.
You think I would skimp out? Oh, full report. Gotcha. I hear you loud and clear.
Duncan wanders off with his own people, and you're all left to yourselves outside of your guest house. Meizaphir having some new belongings.
What's that?
Yeah, do we see that you have this, or is this a thing you're trying to conceal?
He's not really trying to conceal it. If one of y'all notices and asks, then he'll just be like, found it in the pump house. Not much of interest in here except this. Anybody have any idea what this might be? I'll hold out the weird brick thing.
Gornak, all goes dark for you.
Oh dear.
No.
Everyone you watch, you see Gornak, his eyes roll into the back of his head, and he falls backwards. And that is where we will wrap.
You killed me.
Hey, he almost killed me.
My only weakness. Looks. Thank you for listening to Brightshore. This and other settings, modules, and maps for various TTRPGs can be found at patreon.com/Dungeon Rogues. Rate, review, like, follow, or subscribe wherever you're listening. We will see you next time on the rocky beaches of Brightshore.